Hello and welcome to Build Back Better. I'm Dawn from For the Region, and today I'm delighted to be talking to Wyndham Williams. Wyndham is a Community Connector and Development Officer at PAVS, the Pembrokeshire Association for Voluntary Services, and he's come today to talk to us about an amazing project that he's been leading, which is a partnership between Pembrokeshire, Carmarthenshire and Ceredigion, an amazing project called Connect to Kindness. Now, I first met you, Wyndham, at a For the Region meeting in Pembrokeshire College, and we were talking about, what's the regional identity, what do we want to be known for in South West Wales, what are some of our kind of USPs. And I always remember you said kindness. You said that's the key thing about Pembrokeshire, people are kind. So obviously you were thinking about this project when you said that. Welcome, thanks for joining us. Tell us about Connect to Kindness.
Thank you, Dawn. Yeah, wow, that was a while ago when we met. So glad that I attended that meeting with you, because the opportunities that have arose from that has been amazing, and the networks and partners I've made. Coming back to the kindness, yes, we were trying to sell Pembrokeshire, and we are a beautiful county in Wales, and we are proud of our people and our communities. But this crisis has just absolutely highlighted how kind Pembrokeshire has really been, and how communities and businesses and individuals, even animals, have helped in this crisis. It's been incredible. Businesses adapting and helping people who are isolated and lonely. The amount of communities and volunteers coming through the woodwork basically to help their neighbours and help their community and get involved. And I'm so proud to have produced the Pembrokeshire infographic, which we'll probably speak about later on. That's been really, really encouraging. But yes, kindness is for everyone, and it starts with you. You need to be kind to yourself, first of all. You need to think about you and then kind to others. It's free. It's in our genetics to be kind, and just to understand kindness, and not about the pink and fluffy side of kindness and the flowers, about the key facts and science and researchers out there, how it can benefit you tremendously in your health, mental health, our low blood pressure and so forth. It really is fascinating.
As you say, it's just become, there's a real spotlight on community work and the support that people have had from their neighbours and from community groups right across the region throughout the pandemic, and it's ongoing, isn't it? As you say, we need kindness more than ever, and things like social isolation and loneliness have just really come to the fore, haven't they? You mentioned the infographic, which hopefully we'll be able to get up on screen now while we're talking, but it's just amazing to look at all the projects and initiatives and spontaneous action by members of the community right across the county, right across the region, really. But that infographic is very inspiring, isn't it? All those different stories.
Yeah, for me, it was really important to capture everything that was going on. We cannot forget what's happened, and we need to learn and reflect of these opportunities that have arose now, and what individuals and communities have been doing during this crisis, and particularly business. Some businesses have really shown their true colours and have adapted and come out of the woodwork, and some businesses have actually thrived on this as well. For me, it's been a kindness theme, and it's a thread that's been running through every particular project that's out there. And this infographic highlights that in a graphic art form, to tell that story, because yes, we need to move on and come out of this crisis, but we do need to learn. Kindness is key, and it starts with you, and it's for everyone, as that highlights in the infographic.
So the Connect to Kindness project was initiated before the COVID-19 crisis, so the timing, I suppose, couldn't have been better. Is it a funded project and a partnership? How has it come about?
Yeah, it's a funded project through the Healthier West Wales Transformation Fund by the government, and the partners are Ceredigion, Carmarthenshire and Pembrokeshire, along with the Health Board and the CVCs in those three regions. There's a number of programmes in that project, and the project I work on is the Connect to Kindness. And again, this was an idea well before COVID, but it's been perfect timing, really, and just completely justified, absolutely completely justified.
So what is the project doing? I think you mentioned there are 6 different strands, or there are a number of different initiatives in Pembrokeshire itself as part of Connect to Kindness. What sort of things is that covering?
Yeah, so we fund institutional projects. There are 15 across the 3 counties, and I manage 6 of them here in Pembrokeshire, and they're doing some tremendous work. And the whole focus of those projects were to connect the older generation with the younger generation, and how they can help each other, And that was through digital technology, which again, perfect timing because of our lack of connection and personal contact through the crisis. So it was finding ways of working with each other. So we have projects in Span Arts using art and that kind of approach to connect people. We have Sport Pembrokeshire, our sports development in the authority, that are working with residential homes and physical activities. We have Mind Pembrokeshire in Carmarthenshire, doing mental health support and through digital connections. We have Plant Dewi, who is an organisation helping dads and the parents with their children. Again, split families it's been a big problem with the crisis, isn't it? Lots of families can't meet up with each other and not be able to see their children, which has been an excellent project. And a project for agricultural community called Polypechi, and that means browse the field, and it's a project to go and discover and find the history of these farmers' fields and farms. And it's been amazing, that project, because it's connected an isolated community that well before COVID, and got them together and linked them in with their community and schools to find out about their farm and the stories about their fields. And there's some amazing stories coming out. It absolutely really is. And the spin-offs have been where they've now had Zoom calls connecting farmers to other farmers. It's helped a lot of young farmers with their mental health, because they are isolated out there in that community. Yeah, that's been amazing, and 120 plaques have been made just for that project. And again, just scratching the surface of some of these projects is really, really good. These projects have really had to think outside the box, because when the crisis hit, we weren't allowed to go out and see people and connect. Only got to commend them, really. They've been phenomenal, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's given us all a leap forward in figuring out new ways of working and how to keep those relationships alive and keep the work happening with a whole load of new challenges. You talk quite a lot about mental health there, Wyndham, and it seems to me there's a looming mental health crisis. I think it's difficult for all of us to manage our own well-being at the moment, and with the ongoing pandemic and fears about the economy and this just massive disruption to people's lives and work. Do you think that kindness is the answer? I mean, how can we possibly look after and respond to this sort of looming mental health pandemic? Is it individual acts of kindness that can do that?
Yeah, so going back to the science again with kindness, if you help someone, you're going to have a release of oxytocin, a chemical in your body to feel better and elevate you. And it has been proven that people who have mental health are engaged in community programs because they help people, and that helps with their mental health. And again, it's a free chemical in our body that can be released. And it's not being kind sometimes, it's being around kindness, just seeing it, you're elevated. It's a feeling you can't control. To see an act of kindness, it does lift you. But yes, mental health was an issue before COVID, and now it's going to be a lot bigger. And for any program out there, for any kind of ethos of being connected, is more important than anything. Kindness is a good start, because, like you said, it's being kind to yourself, taking time out for yourself, doing things that are good for you, and then what you do for the community and others around you. And there's 5 key messages really that we want to get across to them in this campaign. The first one is kindness is for everyone. It's in our genetics. Anybody can be kind, and kindness can connect us. It can bring us together, where we can work together. And again, that infographic just shows that how communities and people have helped each other. It protects us. Again, back to the science. There's anti-aging properties in these kindness hormones, which is really interesting.
That's good to know.
And it's inspiring. It's a ripple effect. You see an act of kindness, you see something going on, you want to be part of that. And again, the infographic highlights that. And they're very simple messages, but I think have been lost over time. And this crisis has brought people back together. I know my neighbours a lot better now. I know where to go run and cycle a lot more now in my own town. I even know where my community food bank is now. It is incredible, really. But kindness can definitely help with mental health.
Yeah, and I mean, as you say, it's as much for you as the person doing the good deed as it is a benefit for the people who are on the receiving end of kindness. It helps our own mental health when we feel like we are helping other people. I can see one of the projects that For the Region has been involved with is on this infographic, the bunting challenge. So one of our collaborators, who I'm sure is a mutual friend, Becky, kicked off this amazing challenge to get communities across the region sewing bunting out of recycled materials. We just loved that project because it was about creativity, and we know creativity is great for well-being as well. And she got villages and towns across Pembrokeshire and across the region. We did a bit here in Swansea and in Mumbles as well to make stretches of bunting. And now that the lockdown is easing, I think everyone's joining up their stretches. And I think she managed to make a mile of bunting in Pembrokeshire, which is pretty phenomenal. And that's like, as you say, it's just one of the examples of where people have just thought outside the box and thought, how can we bring our communities together? How can we keep people feeling good?
Totally, and that bunting challenge here from Becky, you know, it's just a kindness ripple effect. Just a perfect example. People want to be involved, and that's elevated people by making some colourful bunting. And we've had a similar ethos here with the Rainbow Fairy in Narberth. It's been incredible. She's painted rainbows on every single window and business in Narberth over the COVID period. And what she's achieved is amazing. How she's elevated people who have been struggling, were isolated, and have struggled with mental health. But simple rainbow goes a long way.
Absolutely, it cheers you up, doesn't it, when we're out on our walks and back into our local high streets again. It's all sort of cheer us all up, as you say, when you see kindness and you see other people contributing in their local communities. I think it raises your own spirits and inspires you to think, oh, well, maybe I can get involved and do something myself. Tell me about the Tinman project. I think that's one of your ideas, Wyndham. What's that related to?
Yeah, so all stemmed back from a memory when I was 6 years old with my nan, who was about 80 odd. We were walking around town asking for food donations for the British Legion raffle, and people were giving tins of food and donations. And I just remember everybody was so kind back then. I mean, all the conversations we had, and we knew loads of different people around the town then from just simply knocking on someone's door and connecting with them. So I had a chat with my next door neighbour, who is a graphic designer and a tattoo artist. My other next door neighbour then was Ian Gravel from Gravel's Garages, who had been furloughed. And I said, look, I've got an idea to support food banks here, because food banks are being used massively now. And how can we give back? What can we put in place here in Narberth? So we come up with the idea of Tinman Tuesday. So around the concept of Wizard of Oz, Tinman, there was a fun factor to it, and young people could get engaged. And with my neighbour, who's a tattoo artist, did some really funky designs and branding. And it really worked. We have 17 towns now in Pembrokeshire delivering Tinman Tuesday projects. And the idea is that you go around 6 o'clock Tuesday afternoon, collecting tins from people's driveways and houses. And then we drop them off to the food bank then on a Wednesday. And at the start of this, it was me going around in my van with a few tins in the back, making a bit of noise, dragging on the floor. But, again, people came out of the houses, wanted to talk to us, wanted to get involved. And it's been amazing, really. And we've had people come forward now to develop a Tinman app. So they put the details in and they say where they're leaving their tins. We've got boxing clubs, we've got hockey clubs, we've got so many communities now wanting to get involved with the Tinman. But for me, it was to educate people about food banks, particularly myself. I didn't really know much about my food bank here in my local town, but now I know exactly what goes on. It's an incredible amount of work that's been going on well before COVID, which has been doubled now. And people know now what's going on in their community and how they can give back by one tin. One tin of food has made a massive difference. And again, it's that mental health, it's that connecting with kindness, just by giving one tin. And we see so many smiles.
Yeah, amazing. That's a great idea. And I think all of this, what we're talking about really is the resilience of communities, isn't it? Because there are these economic shocks, this health crisis, climate emergency looming as well. We need to think about community cohesion, how we look after each other and how we can rely on each other. And I think there's been so many great examples and such a lot to learn from this pandemic and this crisis. The title of this podcast and YouTube channel is Build Back Better. So very much part of that theme of how do we recover from the pandemic in a way that helps us improve and build back better as communities and right across the region. Do you see this new spirit of community involvement continuing? Are you worried that things are just going to slip back into normal, into business as usual? What are the things that you feel we can hang on to from this, and what are you hoping going forward?
Well, one of the reasons I did the infographic was to highlight and showcase what happened in Pembrokeshire, to educate people what can be achieved and what we need to do to go forward. And this has completely proven that the answers are out there in the community. The community has reacted, that call to action, that they've supplied the answers. And that is key for me going forward. Those conversations now, the potential government projects and recovery, that the community are involved. Because they're the people on the ground that have proven that crisis, amazing things can be achieved. And getting this message across kindness, it's massive. just the health benefits just alone to yourself, let alone others. And we must learn from this, because ultimately people have died, and we need to march on and find a new way of working and have a plan B as well. I think plan B hasn't been around before COVID. That's where businesses had to really adapt and change their approach and their delivery. And it's not just businesses, organisations and communities as well, And look at the schooling system. Homeschooling now is been one of the biggest challenges for me anyway, the COVID crisis. But it's a new era for me. I really do feel it's a new era.
Yeah, I think that's a key point, isn't it? I love what you say there about actually we have all the answers among us and between us. When we work together, there's so much that we can do, and we tend to isolate ourselves in our own worlds where we have all these problems and challenges. But actually, if we come together and involve each other, we can solve a lot of those problems. But it's not over, is it? You mentioned homeschooling. We're all crossing our fingers that schools will be opening again in September. But I keep thinking, for my own mental health, I've got to not pin all my hopes on that, because we don't know what's going to happen, And like you say, it's such a challenge for all of us to look after our own well-being, and we need each other more than ever. I just love the way this infographic captures and makes a permanent record of this amazing outpouring of community spirit, and we've seen that right across the region. On Gower, there's been everywhere there has been these COVID response groups of neighbours helping neighbours, and new connections being made. And it's that spirit that we're just going to need ongoing. It's not just in times of crisis, is it? It's the importance of being kind to each other and working together going forward. I think we're still on really uncertain ground, aren't we? And kindness more important than ever. So it's an amazing project, and I hope there are ways that we can continue to amplify what you guys are doing in Pembrokeshire and Carmarthenshire, and see whether we can learn from that in Swansea and East Talbot, in how we can perhaps make that record of the amazing community responses and celebrate those people who've stood up and really made a difference in their local communities during this time. What's next for you over the next few months, Wyndham? Are you got lots to get stuck into?
Yeah, so we just launched our website, connecttokindness.wales. And in there's an awareness session that we've put together to get across the 5 messages and the benefits of kindness. And we are collating stories and bringing them to life through animation and video, again, which is so powerful, And again, these messages need to get out far and wide. And that website's been built on a weekly basis with lots of content. We've got pledges, kindness challenges coming up. We've got interactive games that we're going to be putting on there. And we are looking to put a package together for corporate and businesses around kindness. So it's a golden thread through the delivery and the culture. Again, in that in turn, then there's monetary benefits in that, with a kinder workforce, better sickness and morale within the team, So again, being kind, it's there. We need to use it. But yeah, please have a look at the website and sign up and make your pledge today.
Great, yeah, I'll encourage everyone to check out the website. We'll share the link in this video when it goes out. I think you've made a key point there as well, that it's not just in communities, but it's in businesses and organisations. We talk a lot about South West Wales as a sort of region of well-being, and we talk about quality of life. And as I say, I'll always remember that point you made in that first meeting where you said, should we be the region of kindness? We have such kind, strong communities. We should celebrate that, we should champion that, and we should make it part of our brand and our regional identity. But yes, we'll check out the website, encourage everyone to log on there and make pledges and look at how you can integrate kindness through your businesses and organisations, as well as in your local neighbourhoods. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, Wyndham. Thanks so much for coming on and telling us about the project. Good luck as it goes forward, and keep us posted.
Thank you very much, Dawn. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for tuning in today for this latest episode of Build Back Better. Do check out Wyndham's website. Let us know what you're doing in your local community. We're always keen to hear from change makers who are standing up and making a difference in every aspect of life, business, community across South West Wales. Thanks very much. Bye for now.